All right, so you know they say out of grief sometimes comes good, often comes good. I'm with Shara Anderson Grant, whose mom was paralyzed in a car accident a couple of years ago, and she unfortunately passed away. But Shara used the energy of the love she had for her mother, still has for her mother, to birth Woman of Virtue Fashion. It's a line of hats that she's doing. And Shara's here with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And thank you for sharing this very vulnerable part of your story to show how we can actually use tough times in our lives to fuel us, right?
Right.
Into areas of our passion. So tell me a little bit about your mom, first of all, because this is really an ode and a tribute to her, right?
Right,
yeah.
It is. My mother is somebody, her favorite line always is, don't let anybody steal your joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so in her passing, I didn't want to grieve her, because when persons gave their tribute, I realized that she made an impact.
Mm-hmm.
As much as for the majority of her life, she was paralyzed, because she was paralyzed for about 30 years. So she was ill from that time. But I developed my creativity because I always said to her that there was nothing wrong with her hands. And so at the time, because she was young and persons would look at her as, what happened to you? She wasn't comfortable being with crowd. And so I had to carry her to Only Child up several flights of stairs. And that was when, in being in the class, I started to do floral decorations.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then, I realized that I actually have this gift in me.
Yeah.
So in a tribute to her, I found out that she would normally go to Abilities Foundation to cook for them.
And you didn't know?
And I didn't know. She didn't know why she didn't tell me, because the fact that she was paralyzed, she had bed sores on her bottom. And so it would have been a challenge for her to sit up for hours.
Mm-hmm.
But she wanted to be independent, and I felt that a way to honor her would have been to give back to Ability Foundation, mm-hmm. because they gave her life.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her a purpose, because as it says, ability, not disability.
Yeah.
And this morning I was thinking, because most of the time, because of work, I wouldn't be able to make it to some of her doctor's visits. It would be some of her friends from Abilities Foundation who would be there. And I was saying, it is true friendship when you don't have nothing to give and somebody still will be there for you.
Yeah. Village. What a beautiful story. And so there's a Bible verse that talks about what you have in your hand.
Yes.
And you realized you had this gift through your
yes.
mom. You do have a 9-to-5.
Yes, I do.
But you also have a boss who said to you, lady, look, this is a gift you have.
Yes.
You need to go pursue it, right? Which is amazing.
Yes.
So you've been doing just that. So you've done some courses at JBDs. Tell me what you've been doing.
All right. I've always done different creative stuff, but most persons, and I said it's at JBDC, most persons normally say go into the creative. Mm-hmm. But for me, I felt it as an insult, because normally, you know, like when you're growing up, they say, oh, you're not bright, go to creative. It's for persons who are not academia, but persons still do it in terms of career. Don't pursue your career. But he was the first person who said, all right, you still can achieve your career, but also do a business. And JBDC had this program called Design Fusion. And I didn't want to apply because at the time I wasn't registered, I wasn't doing any business. I normally would make hats for myself. So when I look at the list of requirements, I told him I wasn't qualified. He said, go ahead and still apply. When I applied, I realized that it would have been challenging based on the hours that the courses offer. He said, don't worry about it, just go and go do it. And so for me, I thought it would be remiss of me not to mention him, because
absolutely,
yeah, it would be, the thing is that most of the time we get to a place and we forget the persons who help us there. And for me, especially the fact that there were so many lessons I learned, because he's 29 and I'm 40. And currently in corporate sector, we tend to think that the younger generation has nothing to offer because of the
millennials, millennials, that. Yes.
He is very millennial as it relates to drive. And for me, I was able to unearth a gift that maybe I would have hid.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing is, just before we look at your designs, you also have a lot of corporate entities who would say to you, we know you're good at this, but you can't do it because we can't give it the time, or we can't. So when you find that kind of person who is willing to facilitate
and take a
encourage
risk.
you
And take
to
a
do
risk.
that. Oh gosh, you need
Take
to
a
celebrate
major
him for
risk.
sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. All right, so let's have a look at some of the stuff you've done. I mean, we see some examples here. What would you describe the Woman of Virtue line as?
All right, the Woman of Virtue line is really celebrating woman. It's about having that presence. It's about being confident in who you are. What I find is that a lot of us as females, we ascribe ourselves to somebody else, and so this line is called Ocean Deep, and the reason for it is that the brand is timeless, it is solid, and so when I thought about the ocean, the inspiration came from the precious stones. They're timeless. Diamonds are forever. The process for the diamond is not necessarily attractive.
Yes, girl.
Like
Gotta go
some
through the fire. Yes.
And so that was one of the reasons for the line. So
Love
that's
that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at some of your models who are wearing pieces of the line or from the line. First model, head on out. You can tell us who she is and talk us
Okay,
through
well,
the
this is
piece.
Kaheli.
Yes.
All right, what I wanted to show was a casual attire, because most people tend to associate hats with just church or the derby. But if you're maybe going to an event and you just want to stand out, you want to look a little different, you can.
This cute
Go ahead,
body.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
And she's
Very
feeling
nice.
it.
Yeah, she's feeling herself, clearly. That's what modeling is about. Very nice. Nice top, jeans, nice pair of heels, and the hat really does take it to another level.
Thank
Ramp
you.
it up. Very, very cute. Thank you, Kaheli. All right, who's next?
The next person would be Amanda Joe.
Okay, come on down, Amanda Joe.
Yeah. So, you know, short dresses are in. And this could be worn to any occasion. But everybody in a short dress and you want to stand out. So you get
we
a
love a
hat.
short dress,
The
for
thing is
sure.
that because it has pattern, basically it's simple, but I can always elaborate with feathers. You can do whatever you want with that hat.
This strikes me as a take on a beret,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And berets are still a thing, but this one is, it looks a little more, this is a...
They call it the
a
satellite.
Ah.
The satellite.
Okay, I can see why.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and how do you put that in?
Well, normally to hold it on, for some of them I have cords, but if you're not comfortable with cords, there are clips that are attached.
And you can just put the clip in.
You're right.
All right, thank you, Amanda Joe. Who's next?
Then we have Bridget. Bridget is for the cocktail attire, wedding, funeral, whatever formal occasion that you're going, that you want to stand out,
Yes,
stately.
this is part hat, part fascinator.
Right. And
Okay.
if you want, you can flip it to the back if you're not somebody who likes the
bird cage in the
I
front.
call this one pearl in a net because sometimes there are so many gems within us as women, but it's hidden.
Very nice. Deep, for sure, ocean deep. All right, and who else is behind there?
And then now we have Toshiba.
Come on
Again.
out, Toshiba.
The line is for everybody, and so you have Toshiba has a nice formal event again to go, and she just wants to stand out.
This is
What I-
fancy.
What I like about this hat, this is one of my favorites, is that because it is lace, you're not blocking anybody. You know, like when you go to church and you normally wear that you can't see the preacher or somebody blocking it. It's you're not blocking
You can see
anybody.
through this one.
You can see straight through that
Here's the
one.
beauty of this too, is that, you know, she has on a LBD, a little black dress, but the hat, because of the sequins and
The
the
details.
you know, the details on it, it lifts the entire outfit. Very classy.
Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, I believe this is your last model.
No, I have
on, isn't it?
I have a one more
All right, come
model,
on out, one more model.
which is Alea. She's in a formal wear. I recently did a wedding, and the wedding, the entire bridal party wore this hat. So it was a fancy hat wedding where all the guests were supposed to wear fancy hats.
Very nice, fun and whimsical. So you sketched it out and then you made it.
Yes. JVDC taught me that before. I would just normally just do something, but they taught me the business aspect of it where you have to sketch it, imagine it, and then deliver it.
Very nice. All right, may we have all the models coming back out? Shara, where do folks get your hats? And we can custom make, right?
They're custom made. Currently, because of JBDC, I'm currently working on a collection. The full line will be ready by the end of February, which what it is 7 design with 7 style, because I don't want to repeat the same style.
Yes.
And they can find me at woman.virtue on Instagram.
Okay.
Woman.virtuefashion on Instagram.
Woman.virtuefashion
on Instagram.
On Instagram. So, ladies, if you want a hat for church, for a wedding, for whatever, to spice up a jeans outfit, it don't matter. Shara has got you covered with her Woman of Virtue line. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shara Anderson Grant, Creative Director, Woman of Virtue Fashion. And thank you, models. We appreciate it. We'll be right back with more on Smile.